Hello fight trackers, and welcome to a training video for our Sabayan one using the stick. So we're going to be going through all of Sabayan 1, which is Sabayan where we're using angle 1 as the second attack. And so again, we just shorten it to Sabayan 1. But we're going to break down everything in this video, so we're going to go through and just go and take a look at all of the different options when they're coming at us with that angle 1, from the belly cut to the arm cut to the stop cut pass and the ride through. So in each section we'll break all of those down, and then we'll go through and bring Mrs. G in, and we'll go through all of those individually and how we do them as a partner flow, and then we'll put them all in together into the full Sabayan flow to finish this video off. So stick with us and let's get to work. All right, getting into the very first part, just the basic flow of our Sabayan. We're going to be adding in the footwork, we're going to be going through all the different parts. So when we first start out the base, we're really just pulling the stick across our own stomach when we're transitioning to the other side. However, in Pakiti Tersha Kali, we don't really waste any movement. So once we get the base down, then we'll be talking about turning that into an actual attack. Because that's kind of one of the main principles of Pakiti Tersha Kali, is that everything we do is on offense. So even as we're blocking, we're attacking the other person. So it's always gaining control of the fight. So getting into the base of this flow drill here, we are starting with our sticks in our right hand, and we're starting with either foot in front. Really doesn't matter which foot is in front, because if I'm here, I'm going to be transitioning into my my side steps, right? So whether this foot is in the front or in the back, really doesn't matter. I still am going to have to get that transition. So you never really know how you're going to be standing when somebody attacks you with a big thrust. So really, you know, we don't have a dedicated like must start this way or must start this way. So we're again sticking the right hand. Now what's going to be happening is the other person is going to be thrusting that number 5 thrust right towards our belly. And so my main defense is to do a side step and a turn, so that I'm blading my body, and that way it's getting me out of the way of that thrust. So again, that is the primary defense of it. And then I want to put the hand down in just kind of a traditional down block style as kind of a secondary defense. I never really just want to trust my movement, but using movement with an extra defense to ensure that I'm not going to get stabbed by their attack. Now, as I said before, we also want to be on offense while we're defending this. So as I do that side step and my down block, I'm actually going to be thrusting at their face as well. So that's really the first move. So as they're coming in, they're thrusting at our belly, I'm going to do my side step with my right leg, twisting my body, and I'm finishing in a very cat stance, similar to what we do in a lot of our forms, but just a little bit more of a twist, a little bit different angle in the foot, but really it's just a kind of variation of a cat stance. As I do that twist, I'm going to bring my hand down, and I'm thrusting as I'm coming over. Now, as soon as I get this defense, I want to come right back and be on offense to my opponent. So I'm going to step at them with my right leg as I come in, and I'm striking with my puño. So they're going to do a defense, which we'll learn here in just a second. So they defend our puño strike, and they're setting up to hit us with the angle 1. So after I do the puño, I'm going to drop my stick down to my waist, And then what I'm gonna do is as they're coming at me with the angle 1 strike, is I'm going to transition to the other side with a backward V-step. I'm gonna pull my stick to the other side, just right across my belly. And what I'm gonna do is just a pass on their number 1 strike. So I'm passing that across, keeping it from hitting me. Now I get to go the other side. So now I'm gonna thrust at the opponent, and then they're gonna do the sidestep defense, and then when they come back at me with the puño strike, I'm gonna do what we call a stop one. So I'm literally just putting my hand on their forearms, stopping their puño from hitting, while I'm loading my stick up on my right shoulder. And then as I do my angle 1 strike, I'm gonna also do a backward V-step, so I step up, step back as I'm throwing my angle 1. Now that we have the base, we are going to add the actual attack to the belly. All right, so this is really what you would be doing. So as we're doing our, defend, hit, and pass, rather than just wasting the movement of coming over to the other side, what I want to do is actually attack the other person as I'm bringing my thrust, my stick over to the other side to prepare for the thrust. So again, as we do this, starting whichever foot, doesn't really matter, but as they're thrusting at our belly, again, we do that side step, we're thrusting as we block, and from there, coming back with that puño hit, and as I do the puño, they defend it, I want to bring it back to my hip, and then I'm going to defend the angle 1. So again, I'm passing their angle 1, just pushing it, letting it go where it wants to go. As I'm coming through, I'm hitting their belly underneath, and I'm switching sides. So we call this the belly cut. And then from there, I feed for them, so I would thrust, stop the puño as I load up on my right shoulder like we did before. Then I do my angle 1 as I'm doing my backward V-step here. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about on the other, in the base is once my stick passes on the angle 1, that person is going to be thrusting at me again, and I want to be ready to come in with this thrust over the top. So as soon as my stick passes their head and that strike is no longer going to hit them, what I want to do is loop this hand back over to the other side, so then when they're thrusting at my belly, I can get the thrust over the top again. And when we bring Miss G in and we are doing this with a partner, you'll kind of see a bit better how that works and why we do it. So once I defend, then again I would repeat everything. So I come back with the puño hit, bringing it back down. I'm going to pass their angle 1 as I hit them in the belly, and I switch those feet. Then I go one more time, thrust at them, stop their puño as I load my angle 1, and I'm going to feed the angle 1 as I do the backward V-step and looping that hand around. One more time on both parts. I defend as I thrust, come back with the puño, bringing it back down to my hip. I pass the angle 1, hit him in the belly as I bring it over to the other side, and then one more time for the other partner. So I thrust, I stop the puño as I load my angle 1, doing that backward V-step as I strike, looping that hand back around, ready to do it all again. So from here, we're going to start adding on the different options for that angle 1 attack. So we started with the base where we just come across, and then we just added the belly cut in there. Next, we'll do the arm cut, then the stop cut pass, and then our ride through. So stick with us. Next is arm cut. So the arm cut, or what we call cut pass, is, again, everything else is the same, but the idea behind this one is that I can see them loading their angle 1, and I'm actually kind of expecting it. So as they come at me with the angle 1, I'm actually going to catch it with my stick and cut the arm before I do the pass. So again, this is only going to happen if you know that that angle 1 is coming and you can anticipate it and get your stick up there first. So as we're doing this, again, we're the defender. So when they do the thrust at our belly, we start this off the same way. We sidestep, thrust, and defend. We're going to come back with our puño hit just like we did before. And again, retracting down on my hip. Now when the angle 1 is coming at us, I'm actually going to hit the arm and I'm going to cut it, and that starts passing the arm. So then I'm just gonna finish passing it across with my other hand as I do the backward V-step. Then I feed for them. So thrust, stop, feed the angle 1, and loop it back around. And then one more time each side. So I'm gonna thrust and defend, come back with the puño, setting it back on the hip. I'm gonna cut the arm, pass the arm as I switch my feet, and then I'm gonna thrust, stop, and then angle 1, looping it back around. The next one that we're doing is what we call the stop cut pass. So this one is more so based on the idea that you're caught a little off guard by them coming at you with that angle 1. So you do the puño hit, and then all of a sudden the angle 1 is coming at you, and you're just kind of getting an arm up there to make sure you don't get blasted in the face. So again, this is probably one that if you were ever in a real life scenario, this is probably the one that you would end up using more often because this can come at you so fast that you can be caught by surprise. So we gotta gain some time to be able to defend the strike. So we stop it by just doing kind of like an inside block. We're gonna cut the arm and then we pass the arm. So everything else is the same. So just getting through it is, again, they're thrusting at us. So we are defending. We come back with our puño hit, retracting onto our hip. But as I'm retracting my stick, the angle 1 is coming, so I gotta stick that hand up there. Think of like a pseudo block that we do in our undeveloped forms. So I'm gonna hit that arm nice and fast, and then my stick is gonna come up and cut the arm. Now my stick is keeping control of their arm, and then I can do the passing then. So I stop, I cut, and I pass as I switch my feet. Then I'm gonna feed it for them. So thrust, stop, and then feed the angle 1, swooping that arm back over so I'm set ready for my own defense. So now when they thrust, coming over the top, coming back with the puño, I stop, cut, pass as I switch my feet, thrust, stop, and then over the top. The final one that we do with this Sabayan is what we call the ride through. So throughout all of the other sections, what we've used is our hand to pass their strike across to us and make sure it doesn't hit. This one, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do a pass, but instead of using our empty hand, we're actually gonna use our stick to guide their angle 1 strike past us. So we call this the ride through because your stick is riding through the strike along with their hand. So again, everything else is the same. So with this one, we defend first. So they're thrusting at us. We defend and thrust right back at them. Come back with our puño just like we've been doing. I'm gonna rechamber that stick here. Now, as their angle 1 is coming at us, what I wanna do is actually step back and lean back here, kind of a reverse front stance we do a lot in competition track. So I'm gonna lean back, I'm gonna catch their hand with my stick, and I'm just gonna let my stick ride all the way through the strike with the hand. Now that already sets me up on my other side, so I can feed for my partner. So I go thrust, I do the puño strike, and then I'm gonna feed the angle 1, and they're gonna ride through. Now I gotta loop that hand back over just like before, and then I'm gonna thrust as I defend, come back with the puño, and then I'm gonna chamber it back down on that hip, and as their angle 1 strike comes, I'm gonna step it back, ride it through, setting up on the other side. Thrust, stop, angle 1, looping back around, defend their thrust, back with the puño, rechamber, stepping back as I ride through. Setting it up, thrust, stop, angle one for the partner. All right, so let's put these together. Now let's take a look at it with a partner. So if you don't have a partner at home, then what I want you to do is just face the same direction as me. And at least with this, you'll be able to kind of see how this flows with a partner. And you can just follow along with my part while you can imagine Mrs. G is there attacking you as well. If you do have a partner at home, then I want one of you to be in my spot facing one way, and the other partner in Mrs. G's spot facing the opposite way. And one of you will follow along with exactly what I do, one of you will follow along with exactly what Mrs. G does. So we are going to go through all of the parts that we just did: the belly cut, the arm cut, or what we call the cut pass, the stop cut pass, and we will do the ride through. Each one of these sections are going to just focus on one of those, and we'll do it a few times in a row at a little bit slower pace. So starting out with the belly cut. So what's going to happen again, both of us are going to start with our sticks in our right hand. So Mrs. G's on this side, my stick is going to be on this side. So what's going to happen is we're set up here, so we're going to have Mrs. G's side go ahead and attack first. So again, what she's doing is she's going to be thrusting at me right into the center of my belly. So when I'm here, if I just stay standing here and I try to defend this, right, then this could be a bad day for me. So if I try to defend and I'm too fast, then I get stabbed in the belly. If I'm too slow, then again I get stabbed before I can push it off to the side. So again, like I said, when we're doing it just in the air, I don't want to just trust a block, and I don't want to just trust my movement. I want to do all of it together. So when she thrusts at my belly, I want to do that quick turn so the stick goes right past me. But again, we always imagine these are machetes. So if Mrs. G thrusts and I turn, now if she's a good Kali practitioner and this was a machete, she would then just be able to quickly flip it and turn and cut me right across the belly. And again, it can be a very bad day for me. So that's why we have the arm block in there, is that, you know, when she goes to thrust and I turn, I get this block here, but, you know, if this was a machete and she decided to turn and try to cut, she's going to cut my arm and not any of the vital areas. And you know, not that I want to get cut, but I'm more okay getting cut on the back of my arm than I am getting cut in the belly. So it does add a little bit of extra defense for me. So getting into the actual flow, she's going to thrust, I'm going to turn, get that down block motion in there so that I have this blocked and covered, and then I'm thrusting at her face at the same time. Then I'm coming back at her, I'm going to do that puño strike, she's going to retract her stick, she's going to get a good stop in here on that puño. And then I'm going to pull my stick back. She's going to be doing that angle one attack here. And again, what I'm doing is hitting her in the belly as I'm grabbing at the wrist, and I'm controlling her stick over. So I'm hitting, controlling it over as I'm switching that side there. Now she's got to make sure she's looping her stick on the back end, right? So now as I thrust at her, she's going to step and turn. She's going to come at me with that puño. I'm going to block it here as I load my strike. And then now again, I'm switching feet. She's switching feet, but she's going to retract her hand to her hip. She's going to catch at the wrist. She's guiding my stick over as she's hitting to the belly there, right? I got to loop my stick back over. So now she thrusts. I'm defending as I'm attacking. Come back with that puño hit here. Right, pulling it back through, and I'm going to cut the belly as I turn, and then she's looping it around so she can get to there, gets that puño, retracts it back to her hip. As I come through, she gets the belly cut, we're here. She's thrusting, I'm coming through here, there's the puño hit, retracting to my hip, catching at the wrist as I'm turning and hitting under the belly there, right, thrusting back at her one, stopping the puño two, coming back with that as I come through, looping the stick as I come in, 2, and switching the feet here, right? 1, 2, switching my feet there. 1, 2, switching as we hit. 1, 2, switching as we hit. And then we will do it again. All right. Number 2, the cut pads. So again, everything is the same. So this time the difference is just catching the arm early like we talked about when doing it in the air. So now, once again, as Mrs. G comes in and thrusts, I get that good movement, I get that good block. As I'm thrusting to her face here, I'm gonna come right back at her with that puño hit. And then as I come back in, when she does that, number 1, again, it's like I know it's coming, so I'm able to catch it with my stick. I'm cutting as I'm already starting to pass her stick through. So really the stick is doing most of the work, and then my hand comes in afterwards to just kind of ensure that it's beyond my head. Now, she again wants to defend by pulling that stick out of my grip and bringing it back over to her other side, because she's got to get ready for the thrust and be able to get the thrust over my head. So she's got to bring that stick to the other side while I come through here, right? She comes back with her puño. I'm setting my stick up, and again, she's just getting a retraction with her. So now as I feed, she's able to catch it, cut it, pass it. I got to bring my stick back over, so now she feeds, thrust over the top, puño, and then I'm catching, cutting, and passing. Same time. Notice my stick immediately comes down to my hip. So now as soon as I'm through that cut, I can turn right back in and I go for my thrust. She defends, gets that puño, I get the stop block. I'm coming through, she's gonna catch the arm, cut the arm, pass the arm as we do it all again. Cut and pass, feet under. 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 Cut and pass, there. One more time. Now, stop, cut, pass. Once again, this is the one that we are caught a bit by surprise. So she's gonna feed that thrust under. I move to the side, I get the defense, come back with that puño hit, and then as I'm retracting, that's starting to come at me. So again, I'm just going more of like a pseudo block right into the arm here, and then that gives me time to cut the arm there. Now, this is a pretty important thing because in Kali, we do what we call redirects. So if I'm swinging my stick, say an angle 1 at Mrs. G, and she does a big, hard pseudo-style block to my arm, as soon as she hits, she's now stopped my momentum, which allows me to change what I'm doing, right? So that's why a lot of times we'll pass the strike. So when we're here, she passes it, because that just makes my arm continue what it already was wanting to do. So if she stops it, it allows me to actually change my momentum. So she stops it for me and allows me to go to something else. So when that happens, that's why as I get this comes up. So I'm actually making an X between my hand and my stick. So I stop and I catch this arm, so she can't just drop it and cut me underneath, right? So I stop and I bring this up right away to create a nice X, and now I have good grip with her arm here, good grip on her arm there, right? She's got to do something quite a bit, like a big move, to be able to get out of that and be able to attack me somewhere else. Now, once I get this, I'm going to cut the arm and then get to the other side, so then I can pass the arm over. And then now I'm going to thrust at her. She resets, gets to there, same idea. This one's catching by surprise. She gets the stop, she gets the cut, she gets the pass. There, again, stop, bring this up immediately, cut the arm as I pass, bringing this over to my hip, then I'm going back. 2, she's going to stop it, cut it, pass it. 1, 2, stop it, cut it, pass it. 1, 2, stop, cut, pass. 1, 2, stop, cut, pass. 1, 2, stop, cut, pass. One more time, stop, cut, pass. All right, last one, the right through. So on this one, we're going for our catching the arm and using the stick to pass it versus our empty hand. So she thrusts underneath. I'm gonna get all of the same stuff right to that puño. Now when she loads this, what I'm gonna do is, as soon as the actual angle one starts to attack me, I'm moving backwards. So ideally, if she doesn't change anything and just continues to strike through, I'm already out of the angle of attack. So my movement is, again, kind of the primary defense on this one. But then, as always, I just want to make sure that it goes where it's supposed to go, doesn't change, doesn't come back and hit me in a different way. So she feeds, 1, 2. Now, as that comes in, I move, and I'm gonna just catch the stick and just pass it through. I'm pulling this to my hip, and then right away I feed. She goes, 1, 2. She's gonna step back and catch the arm, feed it through, I loop it, she thrusts again, 1, 2, and I'm moving back as I catch the arm. 1, 2, she catches, pushes it through, I loop it, 1, 2, catch the arm, and again, just let the angle go with it, and then I feed. 1, 2, she catches, lets it pass, 1, 2, catch it, pass it through. All right, let's put it all together now. So this is the full flow of everything that we're doing with Sabayan 1. So now we're just going from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So again, we won't change until both partners get a chance to do it. So I'll do the belly cut first, because Mrs. G is the one that's attacking first. So I go the belly cut, then when I feed for her, she's gonna do the belly cut. Then the next time it's my turn, I'm gonna do the cut pass, then she does cut pass, and then we just kind of keep going through. Now once we both do the ride through, then the drill just resets, and then we go right back to the beginning, right back to the belly cut. So we're going nice and slow through this to start. So again, she's thrusting, I'm going to move, come back through, I do the puño, reset, and then as she's thrusting, I come through with the belly hit as I pass the stick. Now it's her turn. I thrust, she comes back. Now as I do the angle one, she gets the belly hit. And then, now since we're on number 2, I'm gonna do the cut pass. So, cut pass, I feed. 1, 2, she's gonna go cut pass. And then now, thrust here, right? We're on the 3rd time. So when she comes in, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna cut, I'm gonna pass, feet under, she does it, stop, cut, pass. Now we're on the 4th one. So I turn, come back in, and I ride through. I feed it her, 1, 2, ride through. Now we do it again. 1, hit, belly cut. 1, 2, belly cut. 1, 2, cut pass, thrust puño, cut pass, here, stop, cut pass, here, stop, cut pass, 1, 2, ride through, feed, ride through. One more time, 1, 2, belly cut, 1, 2, cut pass, or belly cut for her, cut pass now for me, 1, 2, cut pass for her, 1, 2, stop, cut pass, here, stop, cut pass, 1, 2, ride through, hit, and ride through.